Jason here, Clear Creek Farm. How are you doing today? Do you ever have them does that just produce way too much milk and you try to figure out without milking them out what you can do to get that milk to go down? My uncle that had dairy cows, we used to take and use a super long needle to shove up their teat to basically relieve the extra pressure. But they're really big. They were actually made for cows that had obstructions in their udder. But today I'm going to show you how we found a way to relieve them without milking them out. So this recip here, her bag ain't too bad. Don't seem like too over full. She only has one kid on her. Like I said, she's a recip, so we like to drain them down a little bit so that way they don't get over engorged, so that way the kid can get on them better and actually decides they want to drink them down. So we're going to show you exactly what we use. So this is what we use here. It's a basketball inflation thing. I don't know exactly what they call these, but they're for inflating basketballs.
Get out of there.
But we keep this soaked in peroxide all the time, so that way it's clean before we use it. We try not to touch the end that we're going to insert into the goat. If you see that little hole there, and then there's I can't get it to zoom in, but there's a hole on the end as well. We'll show you exactly how we do this. So we actually try to get it to start milking out a little bit. Make sure that the orifice is nice and clean. And then we take and slide that up the orifice. We try not to force it, but as soon as you take and put that in there, she'll take and start draining out. And then you can just basically leave her sitting here and drain all the excess milk out of her. And it saves you from actually having to, if you have one of them does, especially when you deal with a boar goat that don't want to have you milking them, this allows you to drain them out. If they have mastitis, this helps as well. Get that excess milk drained off of them. We have one other recip. I'll show you a little short video after we drain her out. And then we have one recip that is actually engorged a little bit that will show how we do that again with the other doe as well. Once you get closer to the end where they got it almost drained down, if you can tell here, it only took her probably 4 or 5 minutes to start draining down. This is the side that the kid that's on her don't use, so it gets inflamed more than what the other side does. But you can actually massage this a little bit and will help that to come out. You don't want to push like you would if you are milking them, but if you're drying up a goat, this will work too. If you're have a doe that you're drying off that you want to dry off and treat, this will work as well too. So my wife can't milk out a goat because she has tennis elbow, I think it's called. So her hands start cramping up. So if you're not able to milk them out, all we do is put it in a bucket and throw it out in the garden. So I guess you could probably catch that if you want to drink it, but I don't think so. I wouldn't do it, just me. So drains off pretty quick. You can leave that in there until it stops draining all the way, or just drain it down to where you want it. If you have one of them does that are a super big milk producer, that they have a lot of milk, see, and it just slides out. You can shoot some today up that as well if you want to help, but like I said, we'll put that back into a bag of alcohol and make sure it's nice and clean before we use it on the next one. And then we'll switch that alcohol up after we let it clean out, and then we'll switch it up with another thing of alcohol. As you can tell, the difference here, like this one here, one side is super engorged. So it helps out where we can drain this other side off.
Sorry, but that's get it, look. Get it, look, get it. Get it. Gizmo.
So we know it's open. And you just don't want to force it in there if for some reason it's not going in, you're not going in the right, into the orifice right. So you just work it up in there, and there you go. Starts draining right out. We'll give her 5-6 minutes here. We'll probably drain that side down because we know there ain't a kid milking on that side. We'll probably drain it right down and get all the milk we can get out of it, because then we don't have to deal with it for another couple days. If you don't have a hand milker, this works great. And we've been doing this for quite a while, and we've never had a problem after doing this. Actually, we've seen kids actually start using them teats if they are down. We had a recip a while back that was about ready to blow out her udder because of it being so over engorged. And we started doing this on them, and it went right away, went down, and quit having that problem. So you can tell here that we massaged more out of her because nothing's eating off of that side. And it's still coming out pretty good. It'll drain it right down to nothing, but you don't really have to do it if you're gonna have to do it again. If this doe was done with her kid, we'd treat her, but you can tell the difference that it's actually all sunk in there. So probably I'd say 80 to 90% of the milk is gone out of that side. And nothing's eating off of that side, but you can tell this is a good doe. Reason why we probably picked her up is her udder wasn't uniform, and she came out of a dairy, and she probably had some mastitis in this side as well, because if you feel this side compared to the other side, it's kind of a little tougher. So that's why we use her as a recip. It was just something we picked up. Thought we'd make a quick video on that today because it was actually something we started doing, and we get people asked all the time, hey, what do you do when you have a doe that has too much milk and she needs milk take out of her, and she's not good for standing there milking, or you're not able to milk. So hopefully that helped you guys out. Thank you for coming along, and see you on the next video.